What is happening, guys? It's SpruceGoose here, and I've been playing the Madden 22 beta for the last couple weeks, and let's just say, we got some things to talk about. Alright guys, so in case you didn't know, EA released codes to play the Madden 22 beta a couple weeks ago, and I've been spending some time in it, and here I want to share my thoughts with you guys about how I feel about the game, things that I'd like to see, and things that I thought they actually did a pretty good job on. Now, I can't show you any gameplay footage from the beta, otherwise my account will get banned, so what you're seeing right here is Madden 21 Next Gen practice mode footage of me just messing around, not taking it too seriously, but I want to show you guys some Next Gen footage because the beta in Madden 22 really does play pretty similar to Madden 21 Next Gen. Now, EA was pretty transparent that there are still a lot of known issues because after all, it is a beta, so I'm not going to talk about bugs, I'm not going to talk about the coverage logic, which is pretty bad, I'm not going to talk about some obvious UI issues, I'm going to talk about the gameplay itself. So basically, guys, for this video, I'm going to first talk about all things I didn't like and then talk about the things I did like. And so first up, with the things I did not like, is the play calling menu. So I don't understand why they're keeping the same play calling menu from Next Gen Madden 21 when I don't think anyone liked it. The current Gen Madden 21 play call menu is perfectly fine, and if it's not broke, I don't know why you're trying to fix it. I don't like that on the Next Gen play calling menu, you have to move your head side to side to see the three plays on the screen. I don't like that you can't substitute people in if you have the plays up. You actually have to back out to the formation screen to actually sub people in the formation. I definitely don't like that all the buttons have changed. Maybe that's just something I'm gonna have to get used to, but I don't think that it's more intuitive. I'd say if anything, it's less intuitive than the current play calling screen. I don't like that when your opponent calls a play, now it's just this tiny little box, and half the time I'm making substitutions, I'm looking at different plays, I don't realize that my opponent called a play. Maybe that's just me, but there's just so much I just do not like about this play calling screen. I don't know why they felt like they had to make this change. It really does seem like they're like, oh, it's next gen, it has to look different. Well, again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Please, EA, please consider giving us the option at least to use the current gen play calling screen because it is just so much better than the next gen play calling screen. Oh, and one other thing I forgot to mention about the play calling screen is that the formations are not numbered on the next gen play calling screen. So when I'm running the spread playbook with 33 shotgun formations on current gen, I could be like, I'm going to number 18. On next gen, I have to remember the name of every single formation and the order. I have to, like, it's just so much more to remember than just remembering, okay, I want to go to 18, I want to go to 11, and so on. Please, EA, just number the formations on the next gen play calling screen. Please, it would make things a lot easier for us. So another thing I do not like at all is the pre-snap play art, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So basically what happens, guys, is in current gen Madden 21, when you hold down right trigger to see your play art, it just zooms out and you immediately see your routes or your zones or whatever your guys are doing. Now, EA tried to go a little artistic, and now when you zoom out, it like draws the routes or it like draws the zones on the field, and what happens is you can't see them immediately. There's like a half-second delay between when you actually zoom out and you can actually see what your guys are doing, and I just do not like it at all. I feel like they're like, oh, it looks cool, let's put it in the game. But again, just like with the play calling menu, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You're just making it just more annoying to look at what your assignments are on either side of the ball. And so please, EA, have just the option at least to, when you zoom out, have the play art appear instantly instead of drawing itself on the field. I don't know whose decision that was. I hope it's not in the full game. So this third thing probably affects me a lot more than it affects some of you guys, but RPOs have absolutely been nerfed in the beta. And so if you guys have been around my channel at all, you know that I love to play RPO bubble wide pop. And on that play, you have, at the snap, you have options to pass the ball, you can hand off to the running back, or you can keep it with your quarterback. You can run with the quarterback after your running back goes by. And in Madden 22, at least for the beta, if it's like an RPO read with a like a bubble screen pass option or like RPO bubble wide pop, what happens is if you keep with the quarterback, they always go back into a passing stance. You can't run it like a read option anymore, where if you don't hand it off, you just take off with your quarterback. And so I'm really disappointed, and it makes no sense. Like, the quarterback literally is like ready to take off, and he just gets forced into standing upright again. And if RPOs were like really popular, or it felt like they were breaking the game, then I'd understand why they would want to nerf them. But RPOs are not really the meta right now. I know I'm running them a lot and a couple other people are running them a lot, but right now, bunch tight end and trips tight end, that is the meta. And with the way the game is playing, it seems like a lot of passing is going to continue to be the meta. So I don't understand why EA feels the need to nerf plays that aren't really very meta anyway. And so I'm very disappointed to see RPOs being nerfed like that. I mean, I'm still going to try and run the RPOs, but the running with the quarterback is going to be a lot less effective on those plays than it was in Madden 21 current gen. Alright guys, and the number one issue I have with the Madden 22 beta is the same issue I had with Madden 21 next gen. It is the player movement. It still feels like the players are stuck in mud. It just feels like you have no control over your guys. Now I will say that the Madden 22 beta plays a little faster than Madden 21 next gen, just a little bit better, but it's still, in my opinion, a lot closer to next gen Madden 21 than current gen Madden 21. And I have said this over and over. If you guys ever hang out on my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/SpruceGooseTV, I always talk about how player movement is probably the single best thing about Madden 21. There's a lot of issues with Madden 21, but the player movement, I think, is pretty smooth and responsive, and I don't understand why they're taking that away. And one of the key points that serious Madden players are making, and they are absolutely right on this, is that when you slow the game down and when you take control away from the user, you are shrinking the skill gap. Especially think about using on the defensive side of the ball. In Madden 21 current gen, it's unrealistic, sure, that you can fly sideline to sideline and change direction in an instant, but it increases the skill gap. It means players who are good at usering have a higher chance of beating players who are bad at usering, and vice versa. When you take that control away, all of a sudden, a good player and a bad player are not going to be as easy to distinguish, because the good player does not have the opportunity to distinguish themselves because the game mechanics will not allow it. And so I think that if EA cares about Madden being taken serious as a competitive game, they need to do something to increase the movement, to tune the movement somehow, so that a good player can actually take advantage of their higher skill over a bad player. Because right now, with the current state of the game, they are shrinking the skill gap, and that's going to be extremely frustrating for the better players in the Madden community. And one other thing I want to say about player movement, and the number one counter argument that people will make, and that EA will make, against people like me saying we need to have that fast, really responsive player movement, they will say the current player movement in current gen Madden 21, it's unrealistic. We want realistic player movement. Well, my response to EA would be, this is a video game, and gamers do not want 100% unadulterated realism. If they did, Arma 3 would be a much more popular game than Call of Duty. But the reality is, we want a game that is the right balance of fun and realism. And Madden 21, I think, does that really well, where there's a lot of realistic aspects of it. Now, there's a lot of bugs that are obviously unrealistic. We don't want those, but the player movement aspect, that is fun. I don't think anyone, or very few people in the competitive Madden community care that it's unrealistic for you to be able to fly sideline to sideline with your user, or change directions on a dime. No one's sitting there going, oh gosh, what a bad game because it's so unrealistic. What makes it a bad game is all the bugs and the glitches and the inconsistencies. But the player movement is not something that's turning most people away from the game, at least people that play the game seriously. So I don't understand this realism argument. We want a game that is fun to play, that rewards skillful play. And having fast and responsive player movement is how you do that. Not by slowing the game down because you want to promote real player movement 2.0. That's not what people want. People want to feel like they're in control of their game. People want to feel like their skill makes a difference. And people want a mixture of fun and realism, not 100% realism. So I could rant about that topic for a really long time, but I will leave it at that. So real quick, I want to talk about some things that the beta does really well, and I will say that visually, the game looks great. At least in between plays, when the players aren't moving, the textures, the lighting, the shadows, it all looks really awesome. If you wanted to go into replay mode and get some action shots and blow them up and make a poster out of them, they would look excellent. The game is beautiful from a graphics and from a visual standpoint. I mean, the animations, I think, are still not so great. I feel like when I scramble with Lamar Jackson, it feels like he's sticking his butt out for no reason. So I feel like the animation still needs some work, but the textures and the lighting and all that, it does look really good. And since I mentioned animations, I will say I think the game looks a little more fluid than Madden 21 current gen does. You see it all the time in current gen where a player gets completely sucked into an animation, and I don't think that happens as much in the beta. Like, it's still animation-based gameplay, it still happens, but things look a little more seamless than they did before, and so that's certainly a step in the right direction. The other thing I'm really happy to see is that they are rolling out some updates to playbooks. Now, I don't think they've added any new playbooks, but they are adding some new formations into the current playbooks, and so the Chiefs got a new formation called Gun Normal Y Off Close and Gun Bunch Y Flex, and the Ravens got a new formation called Gun Split Wing Nasty, as well as they also have that Gun Normal Y Close formation. Now, I cannot show you any of these plays. Again, my account will get banned if I do, but you can be 100% sure that when the game officially comes out, I'll be deep diving all of these plays and showing you guys any cool things that come out of it. So guys, those are my thoughts on the Madden 22 beta. I didn't really mess around in any of the modes. I didn't play any franchise, any superstar KO, any of the yard. I played one regs game, but basically I've been spending most of my time in practice mode, just trying different plays, seeing how the players move, seeing how different plays feel compared to Madden 21 current gen, which is what I've been playing all year. And like I said, guys, I'm not in love with the state the game is in. I just think the movement is still too sluggish, really. It's just not as fast as it needs to be. I feel like the skill gap is shrinking compared to Madden 21 current gen, and that's going to be a frustrating experience for a lot of people. So I hope EA will try to tune it a little bit more. I know that we're not going to get the same movement as Madden 21 current gen, but if they could just tune it a little bit more to make the gameplay a little bit faster, then maybe it wouldn't be so bad. The other thing that's going to be interesting going forward is finding out which version of Madden 22 EA is going to do the MCS on. I think they'll do it on next gen, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who have not been able to get a next gen console yet. And so if they do MCS on next gen, they might be really alienating some people who were hoping to compete and just could not get their hands on a next gen console. And so if MCS happens being on current gen Madden 22, I will probably be focusing all my content on current gen Madden 22. But if it's on next gen, which is what I'm guessing, then I'll probably be trying to make content for both current and next gen Madden 22. So that's something that we'll have to figure out in the next couple months as EA releases more information. So guys, those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below if you've got your hands on the Madden 22 beta and what you think of it, or if you haven't got your hands on the beta, let me know what you're excited for when you finally get to play Madden 22. And don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next video.